Welcome to the first episode of Sarah from Texas. I am so excited to be doing this podcast. So, thank you so much for listening. So, I've wanted to do a regular, more traditional podcast for quite a while now because, as y'all know, I started off doing Instagram Lives in June of 2022. We're going to go through all of that, how this tiny little idea became into this whole Sarah from Texas everything. And I was never able to do like a traditional podcast where I could have guests on and stuff. So that is why I created this. I'm going to tell all about Reality Water Cooler, where that's going to be, what you can expect from Sarah from Texas, and more. So let's get into it now. So I was a wife, a busy mom of 5, stay-at-home mom, always had my hands in something. I love people. I love getting to know people. I love talking to people. And I was always into reality TV. So when MTV's Real World came out, oh my God, I was so fascinated by the fact that strangers would go on TV and record themselves. And then when all the nonsense came out, there wasn't even social media back then. But, they still had all of these interviews and negative and positive, and people had shit to say. So I was just fascinated by the whole thing. So then as I got married and had kids, I was watching a wedding story, a baby story, Honey Boo Boo. I mean, all the things on TLC, right? And then I got into Bravo with Real Housewives of Orange County. So funny thing, when Flipping Out was on live, if you will, I wasn't even watching it. I think I was so busy with the kids and so busy with the few shows that I did make time for, Housewives and others, that I didn't even know. I thought, "Oh, it's a reality show, Flipping Out. I don't wanna watch that." So, by the time I heard about it, I watched live, episodes 10 and 11 when he and Gage were having Monroe. Okay, but fast forward, one year, my husband surprises me with SiriusXM in my car because he knows I love Howard Stern since the 90s. When I tell you I loved Howard Stern, I was in Houston, right? I grew up in Houston all my life, so I couldn't watch him or listen to him on the radio. He wasn't on SiriusXM yet, but I watched him on the E channel and was obsessed. I mean, I was fascinated. I loved it. I was first in line with all my friends the night that his Private Parts movie came out. We went and saw it at midnight. I read the book, all the things. So when my husband surprised me with SiriusXM so I could listen to Howard Stern, I was even a little bit mad. I was like, "Oh my God, what a waste of money." We've got 5 kids. They're always in the car with me. I can never listen to this. So when I could, I would tune in and listen to Howard Stern. Then the pandemic starts, right? I didn't know the app. I knew nothing about the SiriusXM app. So, we're homeschooling basically, I guess, during the pandemic because the kids were doing whatever they called that stuff, learning from home bullshit. And I'm dealing with all of that. I was a teacher at the time. So when the baby went to first grade, I was bored. So I quickly got my teaching certification, started teaching kindergarten. Uh, my mom was very soon after diagnosed with cancer. So I even considered not working at all. But my mom said, no, we can get through this together. I knew how much time I could take off with being a teacher. I always had the best principals that were so supportive of me. And actually, I was excited. I'd been a stay at home mom for 14 years. So I was in playgroup world, president of the moms club. I mean, dance classes, gymnastics, soccer, baseball, every sport, every activity known to man, we did it in our kids. So when it was a chance to do something for myself, I was like, oh, this will be good. Teaching has really good hours. I hired the best after school nanny ever for 3 years. She's amazing. And then when the pandemic hit, so I'd started listening finally to Radio Andy. So I would always hear him talk about Radio Andy on Watch What Happens Live, and I didn't even know what he was talking about. I didn't know because my husband had given me Sirius XM in my car that I could listen to Radio Andy. I didn't know that Jeff Lewis had a show on the radio 5 days a week. So when I stumbled across it, of course, I loved Jeff Lewis Live, loved listening to him and all the chumps, but I didn't know the app. So I thought I could only listen to it live at 11 a.m. in Texas, which I was a teacher, so I could rarely listen to it live, or on the replay at 5 p.m. Well, oftentimes I was either in the car with my kids or I wasn't in the car at all. So when I quit teaching after 5 years, decided to be a stay at home mom again, the fall of 2021, I figured out the app. I was so excited. I was like, oh my God, I don't know how I figured it out. I just finally figured it out and did. So then I could be at my house listening to Jeff Lewis live every day, which of course I did. Then he announces a live show in Burbank, November 2021. And I'm like, well, I want to go, but I don't have any friends that listen to Jeff Lewis. There was a few friends that I reached out to and they said, "Oh, I remember that guy from Flipping Out, but I don't want to fly to Burbank for a live show." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So I didn't know about the Facebook groups. I didn't know about following them on Instagram. I didn't know about blogs. I didn't know about podcasts. I knew nothing. I literally was someone that only had Facebook. I had all those other social media stuff, but I had it for mom stuff. Like I followed sarcastic moms. So it was nothing about all the celebrities or anything. So I called for the first time ever off the air and spoke to producer Alyssa and said, "Hey, I want to fly to this Burbank show, but I want to meet other fans. Like, how do you do that?" And she said, "Oh, get in the Facebook group." Remember, this is November. This is probably about September 2021. She didn't tell me which Facebook group. So I thought, oh, okay, I can just search Jeff Lewis, right? Well, there was maybe two at the time, and I just joined one and posted. I knew about Facebook groups. I've been in a ton of those. I knew about neighborhood Facebook groups and school Facebook groups. So I knew how to do those. I knew how to create them, administer them, everything. I searched Burbank. I searched, live show just to see if the conversation had already been started in a thread, and it hadn't. I'm like, well, is anyone going to this show? So I finally made my own post. I was like, hey, I'm Sarah, from Texas, and I want to meet other people going to the show. Like, I'm fine. I'd never flown anywhere by myself. I never do anything by myself. I don't like going to the grocery store by myself. I mean, if I were rich and had a paid assistant, oh my God, the way I would hire some amazing, cool, fun person to just hang out with me all day and keep me on track, get me organized, and just chat with all day. That would be amazing. But I don't. So I don't even like going to restaurants by myself. So why would I want to, leave Houston and go to Burbank for this show? But I was like, I think I was like 48 at the time. And I was like, this sounds fun. Like, I don't want to not do this because I don't have someone to go with. So I posted in the Facebook group. I don't even know exactly what they said, but it was something very off-putting, like, why the hell are you posting about? And I was just like, oh my God, I instantly deleted myself from that Facebook group. But somebody reached out to me through a private message and said, "Hey, uh, I will pick you up from the airport. We'll go to lunch. We'll go to the show. We'll do all these fun things." And I was like, oh my God, that sounds amazing. So I didn't let them pick me up from the airport. I rented my own car, had my own hotel room and all that. But we did end up meeting some other people at the restaurant nearby, had a great time. I'm still in contact with several of those people. Several of those people have since shown their true colors. And, we're just not in contact. But anyways, we'll get into that. So had a great time. From there, like I said, with the app, I knew how to listen every day. I got into another Facebook group that was just insane. I mean, talk about obsessed with Jeff Lewis and all the chumps. Crazy. This Facebook group is still going on today. Now they seem to be obsessed with me, whatever. But I didn't realize, I was very active in the group, but I thought, I can just follow these people on Instagram myself, and then I don't have to rely on the Facebook group. So in June of 2022, I had been invited and went to the Hollywood House Live season 1 premiere party in LA, and it was so fun. By then I had an Instagram that I was just commenting and writing things. So I was sort of getting to know some people, and I knew I'd watched Cooking Kibitz. I had watched or listened to Reality Checked with Amy Phillips. So I kind of combined all of those things and just went Instagram Live one day with some of the other people that went to the party with me. And it was fun. But instantly I realized, you know what? I would love to build a community. I would love to chat Jeff Lewis live all my other reality TV shows with other people. Like, what fun is it if you don't have a community to chat with? So when I started going Instagram Live, I instantly got negativity, like negative comments. And I was like, why are these people being so rude? Like, what does it matter? I then had learned about podcast and recaps and Bravo fan accounts. There was no one at the time doing a Jeff Lewis fan account. I had seen some ones in the past. They had done some meme fan accounts. Somebody had done a Monroe Lewis meme or some kind of fan account. There were some other ones, but they weren't current. They weren't active. So it just came naturally to me like, oh, if I want to do this, let's chat about Jeff Lewis because that's what I want to chat about. So I did it by myself for, I don't know, a few weeks, a month, I'm not even sure. And then I had a co-host for about 4 to 5 months. That went awry. So I've learned in this podcasting world, a lot of people have co-host falling outs. So I don't even understand it to this day, to be honest with you. She was apparently upset with me about one live show. We went live for an hour, 5 to 6 days a week. We didn't edit it. It was live. It was us. We loved chatting about Jeff Lewis. We loved chatting about Bravo. It was great. I lived in Houston. She lived in LA. I would fly places. Um, I made it happen to where she could attend BravoCon 2022. And it was all good until it wasn't all good, right? So that was December 2022. Then I went back to doing it at a better time that worked for my schedule in the afternoon. And then life went on where I did the show by myself. And didn't really call it, I guess it was just called Jeff Lewis Obsessed. We didn't really have a name for the show. It was just Instagram Live. Eventually, my friend Shannon taught me how to put it up as a podcast. So I would do that. My friend Jenny taught me how to put it up on YouTube. So I did that. And my point in mentioning all of these other lovely ladies, there have been a handful of amazing people that have reached out and they've become friends over the year and a half, 2 years. And I really thank them for helping me because they really have. So in different ways. So without that, I wouldn't have even known what I was doing. So May of 2023, Ashley reaches out to me and says, how much are you making on TikTok? And I said, what? I'm not making money on any of this. What are you talking about? She taught me how to apply to make money on TikTok. That then set me up to make money on YouTube. And then it kind of went on for there. And it sort of stumbled into this little business. Then I realized, oh, I don't know what date it was, but there was a lot of Facebook groups by then, and some of them were pretty nasty. And I'm not even sure they're fans of Jeff Lewis. I don't really know their intent. Hate listeners, if you will, like Howard Stern talks a lot about hate listeners. Jeff Lewis talks about having hate listeners. So now I know what that's like, having hate listeners myself. Not fun. Anyway, so the Facebook group was created. That way we could have a place to chat and everything. Everything went on as fine. It just seemed that the hate was getting worse and worse. It was getting more and more brutal, lots of lies, lots of just icky, disgusting things going on behind the scenes. Reddit has become unbelievable. Do not have a Reddit account. Don't plan on getting one, but people screenshot things and send it to me. It is literally disgusting, the things that I have been dealing with for well over a year now, but it has definitely gotten worse in the last few weeks or a month. I have tried to ignore it because I know that just makes it worse. It just fuels the fire, if you will. Sometimes I'm human and I just couldn't not react to it, especially when I'm live and there's comments being made, like inciting me. And sometimes I do respond. So it's not been the best of me sometimes, but just give me a little bit of grace of how I really created this podcast, social media, whatever you want to call it, fan account, just for the fun of chatting with other people that have this in common and getting to know people. And I am so thankful that I have gotten to know people. I have made some really good friends. The first thing I did was post and said, hey, I live in Houston. Does anyone in Houston want to get together and have dinner? So about 3 to 4 or 5 people said they were gonna come. At the end of the night, only one came, my friend Kim, and or now friend, and we chatted for like 3.5 hours nonstop. Like, we knew all the ins and outs of Bravo, Vanderpump Rules. We knew all the ins and outs of Jeff Lewis Live. It was so fun. But since then, I have met so many other people, like, just hosting live events and saying, "Hey, I want to go to this live event. Does anyone else want to come with me?" And then people would either fly in or drive in, or if it was in Houston, meet me in Houston. It was amazing, and it continues to be amazing. Um, then it got a little bit tricky with just the online bullying, just taking it up a notch. And when things are lies or exaggerations, that's where it really bothers me. So it's been a very tricky last few weeks or a month. I must say, I haven't handled things in the best way. I do apologize for not handling things in the best way. You probably cannot imagine the cruel, vile, disgusting things that have been said and posted and insinuated about me. It is very difficult to go on life as normal and not want to defend everything. It feels like a lose-lose. It feels like if I say too much, I'm defending myself. If I don't say enough, I'm ignoring it. It must be true. If I don't say it at the right time. So I'm not perfect. I don't know what I'm doing with all this. What I do know is I love, love, love the community that we have all built, where we love chatting reality TV. We love chatting all documentaries, Thousand Pound Sisters, true crime. Uh, Even I slip in every once in a while, little Dr. Pimple Popper. So I love all of that stuff, and I don't want to stop. So I did finally change all of my social media to Sarah from Texas, which has been suggested to me for over a year, honestly. I just never took the step because I thought, well, my niche is really chatting about Jeff Lewis Live. That's really what I love doing. I obviously mix in, like, things that are going on, or, chatting 90 Day Fiance, chatting Real Housewives of Salt Lake City finale, Andy Cohen Live, things like that, all the things that I love. But really, I'm so happy to have all my social media under Sarah from Texas. If you are looking for an amazing community, even to chat about this podcast, the best thing is follow me on all social media. I'm probably most active, obviously, on Instagram. So follow me there, but also this, oopsie, the long time of saying that, the Sarah from Texas Facebook fan group, because that's just an easier way to have a thread and a subject and comment underneath it. There's also events. So I've got an event set up for a bunch of Houston people for, oh gosh, March 13th, when Doug Buden is going to host Shannon Bedore and no. Oh my God. Oopsie. Boy, is my brain wrong. I need dinner. Doug Buden is going to host Shannon Bedore and Vicky Gunvalson. The first night of this tour happens to be in Houston. So that is just an easy way to set up. A lot of people also post, "Hey, I live in Boca Raton. Does anyone want to go to this show with me?" And that's where you get to meet up with other people. So it's really a fun way to do that. This podcast, I look forward to chatting about all the shows that I love, but I will still do my weekly YouTube live on Sarah from Texas channel. It's so interactive. That's where I will chat and recap live with y'all about reality TV, Jeff Lewis, whatever we want to chat about. I do that Monday through Friday. It also will go up as a podcast here on Sarah from Texas. So make sure you're subscribing. Make sure you're hitting the notification button on YouTube. That way you'll know whenever I make a video. I am on every social media under Sarah from Texas. Some are called Sarah from Texas Podcast, but it's all the same. You'll find me. But I will be doing this podcast every Sunday at 4 a.m. Central Time. So I look forward to next Sunday. Let me know in the oh my gosh. Let me know in the Sarah from Texas Old Habits Die Hard. When you want to, what you want to chat about. I love all things reality TV. I love this amazing community. I have done so many fun things, met so many amazing people. But at the end of the day, it's just us listeners, us fans that want to chat about things that we have in common. So I look forward to getting to know you even more. And for all the OGs, thank you, thank you, thank you for staying beside me and these last crazy few weeks.